Right, so you think you want a false water cobra. And this video is not to talk you out of it, but just to make sure you got all the facts so you know what you're getting yourself into. Because I thought I really wanted a false water cobra too. And now I have 2 of them, and I've had them for a year. And here is what I have learned. If you think you want one, you may reconsider after watching this video. Let's see, we'll find out. Let's jump into it. All right, so first, let's start with some positives. Hopefully I don't get bit during the making of this video, but the chances of that happening are pretty high. But so the positives are, and these are the things that attracted me to this snake and why I wanted one so bad, is first of all, in my opinion, this is a positive, but they are mildly venomous, rear fang venomous, which I thought was really cool. I like venomous snakes. Another positive is they hood up like a cobra, which is another thing I think is really cool. It's very intimidating. So if you're someone that likes, you know, the crazy factor or adrenaline factor, it's another reason why they make great. It might be a great snake for you if you're someone that kind of likes, you know, pushing the limits a little bit. They're not dangerous. You can get some swelling. Some people have reactions to it. I've been bit like 5 or 6 times already. I haven't had any reactions, but that, you know, maybe I didn't get envenomated. You know, they do have rear fangs, so they kind of got to get you pretty good and lock on and chew pretty good to envenomate you. And I've always just gotten quick little defensive bites, never really a full-blown lock and hold type bite. So maybe I didn't get envenomated. I don't know. But the other thing that really attracts me to them is just how beautiful they are. It's a very good-looking snake. And the fact that the females get very, very large. This is my female. She's about, I've had her for about 13 months now, just over a year. And if you don't, or I'll link it at the end of this video. When I got her, she was literally about 2 feet long, tiny. And look at the size of this snake after 1 year. She's already 6 feet long. Okay. But they get very big, and that's why I got a female. Is because they get much bigger than the males. They push upwards of 9 feet, so they get like 9 to 10 feet long, which I think, again, is very cool and part of the reason why I got a female. I did kind of have in mind that I wanted to breed at some point too, so that's why I got a female. And then I just had hopes of getting a male later down the road, which I did end up doing about 2 months later. I got a hypo male with a lavender tail. So I maybe one day, you know, can selectively breed out some lavender offspring in the future, hopefully. So those are the pros, okay? But that's not what this video is really about. It's mainly about the cons. And I have quite the laundry list of cons after owning this snake for just over a year. Okay, so when doing my research to get one of these snakes, everybody bragged about how docile and nice they are. They said, oh, these are the best snakes. They never bite. The only time they've been bit was from a feeding response, yada, yada, yada. It was their fault, not the snake's fault. Stuff like that. Well, that hasn't been the case for me. She's being very well behaved right now, but at any given point, I know that she could just decide to bite me because it happens all the time. We'll be having a good day, just like we're having right now, and then all of a sudden, just whap, she just bites me for no good reason at all. When I first got her, the pet store said that this was the only snake in the whole store that they use a snake hook on because she was crazy. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I bought her, and she's mellowed out a lot. She is very, very, very cage defensive because she has a very, very strong feeding response. So she thinks when that door opens on her cage that it is feeding time. So anything and everything that she sees So you better watch out because these snakes are extremely fast. I mean, faster than you can even imagine. They can clear a 4-foot cage in the blink of an eye and fully launch their whole body out of the cage in no time flat. They will seriously shock you how fast they are. They're very athletic, agile, and very fast. So that, I guess, would be con number 1, is I have not had a good experience with them being nice thus far. Now, on the contrary, my male, they would free handle him at the pet store, and they said he was great. Now, I get him home, and they were right. He was great for like a week or two, and then they've kind of switched places. So when I get her out of the cage, once she realizes it's not feeding time, she mellows out quite a bit, as you can see right now. Today we're having a good day. Haven't been bit yet. The male, on the other hand, he is just defensive all the time. He flattens out his whole body. He puffs up. He hoods up. He tail whips me. He's tail whipped me in the neck before, like really, really bad before, and it no joke, it hurts. So yeah, he's tail whipped me before, and he always tries to tail whip me, especially if he's eating and I try to pull, like a shed out or try to grab a water bowl out while he's occupied with a rat. He'll just straight up tail whip me while I'm trying to get into his cage to do some work. So like I said, the male, he flip-flopped on me. He was supposed to be sweet. Turns out he's a jerk. She was a total bitch. Turns out she's pretty sweet once you get her out of the cage. But again, she could turn on me and bite me at any moment. The next thing is the metabolism on these snakes is absolutely freaking insane. Now, as you can see, this is how big she has gotten in 1 year's time. I'm 6 feet tall. She's every bit as long as I am, fully stretched out. Maybe 5.5 feet, pushing close to 6 feet. So this has everything to do with her metabolism right here. So in the winter, I slow it down to like 1 feeding item per week. But in the summertime, like right now, I'm feeding her 2 food items twice a week because that's what her appetite calls for. So basically what I do is whenever I feed them, whenever they go to the bathroom, I feed them again. And this snake right here, you feed her, she poops 2 days later, then I wait a day, feed her again. So every 3 to 4 days she's eating. And then depending on the size of the food item, sometimes I'm feeding her double. Like I'll do, like let's say for instance 2 small quail on Sunday, and then I'll do 2 small to medium rats on a Wednesday or a Thursday, just during the summer. And like I said, her metabolism keeps up with it. She defecates every couple days, no problem. So that's one of the cons, is this snake will eat you out of house and home. If you think about the price of quail and rats, you could easily spend $30 a week feeding this snake. Now, if you get 2 of them, like I have, that adds up very, very, very quickly. My male doesn't eat nearly as much as she does. He's quite a bit smaller, and he just doesn't have the appetite that she has. Oftentimes, I offer him food, and he doesn't even eat. So he's only eating once a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks, and that's just because he just doesn't accept food as readily as she does. It's crazy. Hold on, let me get her out of this succulent before she destroys it. Okay, so con number 2, this snake will eat you out of house and home. So you better get an account with Rodent Pro and get ready to just order it up on a monthly basis, because that's what I have to do. Which leads me right into con number 3, which is the amount of poop this snake creates. This snake literally is pooping 2 to 3 times a week. And on top of that, not only is she pooping a lot, it is the most foul, disgusting smelling poop you will ever smell in your life. It smells 10 times worse than any other snake. 10 times worse than my boas, than the rat snakes, than everybody. When she poops, I know it. I walk in that garage and I just know it. I know it's that foul. And it's just like this liquid, disgusting diarrhea poo. And it just goes all over all the bedding. And you don't get to just, like with a boa, you can just spot clean poop. Nah, with this thing, you're switching out like half the bedding in the tank every couple days, all right? I mean, they just unleash when they go poop. Another thing that they love to do, they love to go in the water, hence the name false water cobra. As soon as you switch their water bowl, give them fresh water, they love to just go coil up in there and just let it loose. Sorry, I had to switch spots because my phone was overheating in the sun. Let's see if I can get her to hood for you real quick. Oh yeah, she's a pretty girl. Okay, so like I was saying, they love when you change the water bowl because they like to go coil up in there and then just unleash a giant dookie in there for you. It's great. So you really should have a sink and a bathroom nearby. Otherwise, you're gonna have trouble cleaning that kind of stuff up. Luckily, I have a bathroom within 10 feet of her cage, so I'm able to take that nasty water that they just defecated in, dump it in the toilet, and then I have Dawn dish soap and a scrub brush at the sink, and I'm able to wash and scrub down the whole water bowl each time. Super important. You don't want them getting any kind of diseases or, you know, bacterial type infections from nasty sewage water. So if you're the type of person that wants a easy maintenance snake that you can just throw a rat in or whatever food item once a week or every 2 weeks, change the water bowl once or twice a month, and just grab spot clean poop and sheds every once in a while, this is 1000% not the snake for you. You have to maintain this snake, this cage, multiple times per day. Now, the metabolism and the feeding and the growth rate brings me into the next point that I totally was not expecting. So I have shelving in my garage, and I went and just started upping my collection. I got some rat snakes, I got some king snakes, I got some boas, I got the false water cobra. And this thing grew so fast, and same with the male counterpart, which we'll pull out here soon, not nearly as big, but still, that I am running out of space now in a hurry. So it's like now I'm at the point where what do I do space-wise? Like they need such a large enclosure because they're so active. Not only are they big, they're very active. She literally just does laps in the cage all day. And which brings me into another con. This snake does like hourly perimeter checks in the cage, meaning she goes around with her head and she is checking for every possible opportunity to escape. And let me tell you, she's done it twice before now. And both times and this is with a new cage that's never had a heat lamp sitting on top of it. The mesh in the lid of the cage, she literally is so strong, so powerful that she came up with her nose in the corner of the mesh and she pushed so hard that she broke out of it. One time I was standing right there when it happened and I heard it happen and I ran over and was like, what was that? Oh, Shelby just muscled her way through the mesh on the cage. I was able to catch her, fix it, put it back in. Lo and behold, like 2 months go by, I go out in the garage and she's nowhere to be found. I literally had a heart attack. I took apart the whole entire garage for an hour before I finally found her. But again, it wasn't the same corner that had already been damaged. It was a fresh corner. She went over and she pushed so hard that she muscled her way through the mesh. So if you think you have an escape-proof cage, you most likely don't with this species of snake. So I would highly recommend a vision cage or some kind of PVC cage with the sliding glass door. Don't go with the mesh top enclosures. So I think that covers everything. If I think of anything else, I'll drop it in a short and I'll link it down below. But overall, guys, I mean, what a beautiful snake. You can't argue that. And just to go back over and end on a positive note, some of the pros. Like, just the way that they hood up and the way they have that raccoon mask, you know, that bandit look on their face right there, especially when she flares up and hoods out. Let's see if I can get her to do it. Anyways, yeah, when she hoods that up right there and she flares out that black stripe down the side of her face, man, what a gorgeous snake. Very intimidating, so it's a cool snake to show off to your friends. And like I said, I've only had her 13 months, and she was only a couple months old when I got her, so she is not done growing. I'm going to give her at least another year to grow, and then I'm going to breed her to my male. So let me go pull him out real quick so you can see what I mean by the hypo male. Come on, baby, flare up for me. And I am a lucky guy today. I did not get bit yet, so we'll see if that holds true for the male. But yeah, I'll show you what I mean by the hypo male. So he's hypo, meaning he's lacking black pigment like all the way down. Like the black is very light, but then the lower third of his tail is this beautiful lavender color. So that's why I ended up buying him, because I got him for the same price as her. So I'll be able to breed him to her and hopefully produce some lavender babies in the future. All right, let's go pull him out real quick. All right, guys, real quick. This is the male. His name is Draco. He's a complete jerk. He's kind of got this silvery look to him right now because he is getting ready to shed, but he is putting on a nice little display for you guys. And like I promised when I was trying to get him out of the cage, he was tail whipping me like crazy. So he's kind of a jerk like that, but as you can see, his blacks are not very black at all. That's why he's a hypomelanistic. And then if you follow it down toward the tail, starting about here, the blacks are actually this beautiful lavender purple color. It does not show up well on camera, but he is displaying those traits of that lavender color, which is a really desirable morph of these guys. I'm not a fan of the lavenders or the hypos. I think the wild type are the coolest, like Shelby, the girl that you just saw. I love the contrast of the black with the browns. But nonetheless, this guy is still a beautiful snake. And you can see he's not nearly as girthy. He's very jumpy. He's not nearly as girthy or as long as Shelby, and they are the same age. I've only had him for about 2 months less than her. And he was born around the same time as her, and he was the same size as her when I got him. So he's way behind on growth. And I don't think it's just because he's a male. I think it's just because of his eating habits are not nearly as good as hers. But nonetheless, he's still a beautiful snake. One other pro, this is where they get their name, actually. I think their common name in Brazil, where they're from, is the Brazilian smooth snake. Now, this snake, you know, people say, oh, snakes aren't slimy like you think they are. Well, these snakes actually do feel pretty slimy and rubbery. It's pretty crazy compared to other snakes. They are very smooth and odd feeling compared to most snakes. Let's see if we can get him to hood for you guys one more time without getting bit. Well, he's being a pretty good boy right now. Don't bite me. All right. I love how their tail, they kind of look like a coach whip. It looks like a braided whip at the end of their tail. Just a beautiful snake. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope that gave you some insight on keeping a false water cobra. Just prepare for massive growth, massive food bills, massive maintenance. If you're good with those things, go ahead and get you one. They're awesome snakes. All right. Later.